Any doubts, anyone?
No, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice that it's clear. So now I'll tell you, I have given you back, I have already told you what baggage handling is. I have already told you what airport handling is. I have told you how the airport layout should be. Correct? Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now I need to be covering only two more topic to complete your chapter, which is check-in and which is prohibited items.
Excuse
Okay.
me, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, is it mandatory that we should learn these many topics in a single day? Like it's totally overhead, ma'am. Like a
There
lot of
is, there
syllabus
is,
and
Yes,
also.
I will tell you, there is nothing to be overhead in this because everything is interconnected in this. So if I leave one topic in this, it is the same slide which is repeating again and again. In
Ma'am, not about
every,
the syllabus, ma'am. I'm just telling like in a single day learning these many topics, ma'am. Like from past 3 days, it's like total of less of all this, aviation introduction, ma'am. Like small topics in a single day. Like it's a huge, ma'am, lot of classes and lot of topics are being covered in a single day, right, ma'am?
correct, but that needs to be checked from your side because I have a less time to complete your portions. So that's the reason I am giving you. So I would be covering. See, I why I thought of covering chapter two together is that today I'm taking you half, and tomorrow the same slides would be repeating. So I don't want to do that because you would be seeing the same slide, I would be telling the same slide. So there is no point in that. But when it had come in chapter one, you need to be concentrating. I did it in different days because the units were different. Like you had laws, you had rules, you had introduction, so it was all different. But chapter two is entirely based on your check-in, your boarding, and all those things. So every time you see the same thing would be repeating in the upcoming thing. So there is no point in doing it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So I thought of finishing off your chapter two today because it is all interconnected and your same slides would be repeating again and again. So you have nothing to do with it. You only have check-in, which I have already told you. Check-in, how you will do check-in, right? Uh, you know, uh, what do you say? How you enter in, how you enter inside the airport, and how your identity check is being done by the CISF. You move on to your counters. Okay, the staff will ask you for your ticket and your ID card. You need to be submitting it. She will put up your PNR onto her system. She will check your name. If everything is correct, she will allocate a seat for you and she will give you the boarding pass. Now, if it's an online check-in, then you are doing it, you have kiosk, which is there in the airport. You're coming there, you are doing the checking onto the kiosk and collecting your boarding pass. But if you have a check-in baggage, you need to be moving to the counters and to check the baggage. From the time the baggage has been checked in, from there the baggage handling process starts. So it is all interconnected. So if I say, okay, that is where the check-in stops, then tomorrow again I need to say the passenger has got inside the departure area, he has come into the counter. So again the repetition would happen. So there's no point in that. Why not completing the process at a stretch? Why not we sending the passenger today itself? Correct, Mushraf? I don't want to hold him for traveling tomorrow. Yeah, Mushraf? Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. So I don't want to be him to be with me till tomorrow. I want to send him today only. So let him, after checking his baggage, let him go to security hold area, clear his security and move. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Got you.
Okay, so that is your check-in. I finished your check-in too.
Okay,
Oh.
ma'am. Okay.
Okay, then you have, which is your last topic, which is prohibited items. Okay, prohibited items. I have nothing to tell you for prohibited items. I have a listed prohibited items which should actually be not carried. Some of the things which should not be carried in a check-in baggage. I have typed it, so it is actually easy for you guys to understand. I'll show you once, and I'll send this notes to Mohit sir to update it on your.
Ma'am, in each airlines the prohibited areas differs or like
No, no,
the
no, no,
same?
no, 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 no,
Same.
no, no. Every airline, it's the same.
Okay, ma'am.
Every airline, it's the same. See, these are the list of prohibited items. Okay, you guys are able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is completely banned from the aircraft. These items are completely banned. Your explosives, flame items, gases, matches, oxidizers, poisons, all these kinds of things is completely banned.
But
Okay,
ma'am, some of them carries lighters in flight, ma'am. For
lighters is fine. Okay, not more than 2 lighters has been allowed inside your. That too, not in your hand carry, only in your check-in baggage. But not more than 2 is allowed.
okay, ma'am.
I told about matches. Your matchbox. That is not allowed. Matchbox is not allowed. Then items restricted in check-in baggage. If you could see, this is the some of the examples of which can be carried only in checked baggage. Okay, so your paintball guns, dry ice not more than 2.5 kilo has been allowed. Okay, so dry ice is a dangerous code. It is a dangerous code, so you're not supposed to carry more than 2.5 kgs. So if it is more than 2.5 kgs, you need to be discarding it very safely. Okay, so knives and all you can carry in your check-in baggage. Knives, your nail cutters and all those things.
These are all included with the hand luggage, right, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes. See, I have mentioned it here. Carried only in checked baggage. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Now, carry-on baggage. Carry-on baggage is your hand baggage where you can carry non-rechargeable batteries, spare batteries, matches. This is where a common lighters has been allowed. That is what I have mentioned here. A common cigarette lighters, but not more than one has been allowed. But usually nowadays they are not allowing it because they don't want to take a risk. So that's the reason they are not allowing it. Okay, now you're not supposed to put these items in your checked-in baggage, that is your computers or personal electronics. So if at all you see staff checking in your baggage will ask if you have your laptops, please remove it. Because your bag has been handled by the staff, so they don't know what is there inside your bag. So never put your laptops or computer products inside that. Now, any sort of money-related items also you're not supposed to put because, there is a pilferage happening and the airline would be liable for it. Okay, since loaders are taking up your bag and putting in, there is a possibility that they might do a theft in the bag. So that is the reason the staff usually says that please don't put any such personal documents inside your bag because whatever they are doing, it would be liable for them. They need to be paying you the money, so they don't want to take that on their head. So that's the reason. No jewelries, no medical devices should be put inside the bag. Any replaceable item should not be put inside your bag. Let's say your keys, let's say your eyeglasses and all, nothing should be put inside that. So these are the list of items you are not supposed to carry. So you can read that. No money more than 25,000 would be allowed when you are traveling international. Okay, you would be paying taxes for that too, to the customs. Okay, more than 25,000, pay taxes. Duty-free items, you have some restrictions. Not anyone and everyone can go and purchase duty-free. Only the passenger who are traveling international or coming from international can purchase for the duty-free. Okay. So those are the prohibited items.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so just have a mere understanding of it. Okay, so you should know what a prohibited items is. Prohibited items is those items which is hazardous for the health of you, or let's say the aircraft, or to the passengers. So those kind of items are not supposed to be allowed inside the aircraft. So that is generally you need to know. What I will do is, by this I have completed your chapter 2, because everything was interconnected, so it was easy for me also and easy for you guys also. But I have a list of videos to be shown to you, so let's watch up the videos, and that would freshen up your mind. Now first we will see okay, what do you want to see first? Do you want to see the airport structure, or you want to see how a good terminal should be, or you want to see how check-in is there, or you want to see prohibited items? What do you want to see?
And serial wise, ma'am. Serial wise.
Ma'am, according to the serial wise, yes.
Okay, then we will first go on to the airport layout first, and then we will go to good airport terminal. Okay, then we will go to at the airport, then rest prohibited. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Airport layout is a big video, I believe. Oh God. So this will clear out your doubts also. Videos are the best thing to clear off your doubts. So that's the reason I am also updating the videos also on your notes. So try seeing the videos also, whatever would be updated on the websites. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
I'll be sending these videos also, so Mohit sir will be updating it on the. I guess everyone is registered on it, so you will be watching it. Visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a little bit huge video, but watch it. Audible?
Welcome to
Yes, ma'am.
another session of aviation. In this class, we will familiarize ourselves with the layout and structure of airports. Airports are divided into landside and airside areas. Landside areas include parking lots, public transportation, train stations, and access roads. Airside areas include all areas accessible to aircraft, including runways, taxiways, and aprons. Access from landside areas to airside areas is tightly controlled at all airports. Passengers on commercial flights access airside areas through terminals, where they can purchase tickets, clear security checks, or claim luggage, and board aircraft through gates. The waiting areas which provide passenger access to aircraft are typically called concourses, although this term is often used as terminal. Now, let's see what is runway, taxiway, and apron or ramp. A runway is a defined rectangular area on a land aerodrome, prepared for the landing and takeoff of aircraft. A taxiway is a path for aircraft at an airport connecting runways with aprons, hangars, terminals, and other facilities. The airport apron is the area of an airport.
So guys, runway, taxiway, ramp, these are all the parts of the components of the airport. Okay, so these are the components of the airport. Okay, you have certain components, your terminal building, your runways, your taxiways, all these are the components. So that is what he is explaining here.
Where aircraft are parked, unloaded or loaded, refueled, or boarded. Some people mistakenly use the term tarmac to denote apron. All vehicles, aircraft, and people using the apron are referred to as apron traffic. The use of the apron is covered by regulations and controlled by the apron control to provide coordination between the users. One of the important requirements in the design of a terminal complex is minimizing the time needed to service an aircraft when it is transiting an airport. This is especially important in the handling of short-haul aircraft, where unproductive ground time can consume an unacceptably large percentage of flight time. The turnaround time for large passenger transport between short-haul flights can be as little as 25 minutes. During this period, a large number of service vehicles circulate on the apron.
So let me clear what he told you. He told you turnaround time is just 25 minutes. So once the aircraft has been brought into the parking bay, okay, the aircraft is having only 25 minutes. So within this 25 minutes, the baggage should be boarded, the cargo should be boarded, the passengers should be boarded, the catering should be boarded. So within this 25 minutes, the flight should be ready to depart. That is the 25th minute from the flight landed, which has come into the parking bay. The 25th minute, it should be ready to push back. Understood? Understood? Okay.
Therefore, an important aspect of the efficient operation of an airport facility is the marshalling of ground service vehicles and aircraft in the terminal apron area. Such an operation can become extremely complex at some of the world's busiest airports, where an aircraft enters or leaves the terminal apron approximately every 20 seconds. Immediately after World War II, new airports were designed with their terminals entirely surrounded by runways, with access to the terminal areas provided by tunnels. Now, let's see airport lighting. Many airports have lighting that helps guide planes, using the runways and taxiways at night, or in rain or fog. Visual guidance to approaching aircraft is also provided by approach lighting systems, a configuration of high-intensity white lights running along the centerline of the runway and extending up to 600 meters beyond the threshold. At airfields where aircraft operate in very poor visibility, touchdown zone lighting is provided over the first 900 meters from the runway threshold. These lights, set in patterns flush with the runway pavement, provide guidance up to the final moment of touchdown. The runway is strongly delineated by a variety of guidance light systems. On runways, green lights indicate the beginning of the runway for landing, while red lights indicate the end of the runway. Runway edge lighting consists of white lights spaced out on both sides of the pilot is warned of the approaching runway end by a line of red lights at the end of the usable pavement. Some airports have more complicated lighting on the runways, including lights that run down the centerline of the runway and lights that help indicate the approach. Low-traffic airports may use pilot-controlled lighting to save electricity and staffing costs. Along taxiways, blue lights indicate the taxiway's edge, and some airports have embedded green lights that indicate the centerline. A line of lights on an airfield or elsewhere to guide aircraft in taking off or coming into land, or an illuminated runway is sometimes also known as a flare path. Next, let's go to air traffic control. The majority of the world's airports are non-towered, with no air traffic control presence. A towered airport has an operating control tower that is responsible for overseeing the safe, orderly, and expeditious flow of air traffic at airports. Wherever there is air traffic control (ATC) system, controllers direct aircraft movements via radio or other communications links. Aircraft are required to maintain two-way radio communication with air traffic controllers, and to acknowledge and comply with their instructions. This coordinated oversight for...
See, the instrument, what is there in his hand is the RT, okay? This one, RT, radio transmitter. Okay, via this, the first video was...
facilitates safety and speed in their instructions. This coordinated oversight facilitates safety and speed radio communication with air traffic's direct aircraft movements via radio.
This is the instrument which they use for speaking with the pilot. Okay, whatever is there in his hand, the pilot communication is done via that. And the other instrument, this one which is there in his hand, the RT, that has been used to convey any emergency messages to the airport operation. So if anything needs to be conveyed to the terminal, then immediately he will use that. But whatever he is using now is for the conversation with pilot.
Or other communications links. Aircraft are required to maintain two-way radio communication with air traffic controllers, and to acknowledge and comply with their instructions. This coordinated oversight facilitates safety and speed in complex operations. But what is the need for an ATC? Here is the answer. In the vicinity of airports, especially large airports, where in peak conditions, as many as 3 landing or takeoff operations may occur every minute, the control of aircraft in the air is a difficult but extremely important operation. Aircraft require very large amounts of airspace, but at the same time, the risk of collision must be set at very low, almost negligible, levels. Because aircraft are concentrated in the airspace around airports, acceptable levels of collision risk can be achieved only by strict adherence to procedures that are set out and monitored by air traffic control authorities. Air traffic control responsibilities at airports are usually divided into at least 2 main areas, ground and tower. The busiest airports have clearance delivery, apron control, and other specialized ATC stations. Ground control is responsible for directing all ground traffic in designated movement areas, except the traffic on runways. This includes planes, baggage trains, snowplows, grass cutters, fuel trucks, stair trucks, airline food trucks, conveyor belt vehicles, and other vehicles. Ground control will instruct these vehicles on which taxiways to use, which runway they will use, where they will park, and when it is safe to cross runways. An aircraft in flight follows en route air traffic control instructions, as it flies through successive flight information regions, which is FIRs. Upon approaching an airport, at which a landing is to be made, the aircraft passes into the terminal control area that is TCA. Within this area, there may be a greatly increased density of air traffic, and this is closely monitored on radar by TCA controllers, who continually instruct pilots on how to navigate within the area. The aircraft is then brought into the final approach pattern, at which point, control passes to the approach controller, who monitors the aircraft, to the runway itself. Once on the runway, the pilot is given instructions on ground maneuvers by the ground controller, whose responsibility is to avoid conflicting movements of aircraft in the operational area of the airport. The ground controller gives the pilot instructions on reaching the apron stand position via the appropriate turnoffs and taxiways. Final positioning may be the responsibility of an apron controller. Departing aircraft go through a reverse procedure, whereby control is passed from ground control, to departure control, to terminal control area and, finally, to en route control. When a plane is ready to take off, it will stop short of the runway, at which point it will be turned over to tower control. After a plane has landed, it will depart the runway and be returned to ground control. Tower control controls aircraft on the runway and in the controlled airspace immediately surrounding the airport. Tower controllers may use radar to locate an aircraft's position in 3-dimensional space, or they may rely on pilot position reports and visual observation. They coordinate the sequencing of aircraft in the traffic pattern, and direct aircraft on how to safely join and leave the circuit. Aircraft which are only passing through the airspace must also contact tower control in order to be sure that they remain clear of other traffic. Now, let's talk about air safety management. Air safety is an important concern in the operation of an airport, and almost every airfield includes equipment and procedures for handling emergency situations. Airport crash tender crew are equipped for dealing with airfield accidents, crew and passenger extractions, and the hazards of highly flammable aviation fuel. The crew are also trained to deal with situations such as bomb threats, hijacking, and terrorist activities. Hazards to aircraft include debris, nesting birds, and reduced friction levels due to environmental conditions such as ice, snow, or rain. Part of runway maintenance is airfield rubber removal, which helps maintain friction levels.
Guys, if you see in this video, it has been pulled by a tow bar. Did you see that yellow color machine which is pushing the aircraft?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am,
so
it's visible.
Yes,
yeah, yeah. It has been towed by the aircraft has been towed to the parking lot because of the ice, which is of the snow being there on the runway. So the aircraft is not able to move. So the tow bar has been used in such kind of situations. It has also been used for the pushback of an aircraft. Okay. So that is the one. Now he when he was explaining, he told that there was this ASM, that is the air safety management, would be using something called as bird hitting, right? So the air safety department, there is having a department which takes care of that none of the birds, if you see in any of the airports, the birds would be less. Okay, because they use a kind of gun kind of thing, okay, which while firing on air, the birds will get scared and fly off. So they'll not kill the birds, that means, okay. So they are just scaring the birds, okay. So it shouldn't affect, because a single feather of the bird, if it has been touched onto the aircraft, also they it would be a random hit for the aircraft. There would be a huge loss for the airline. So that's the reason a bird is also a single small bird is also a threat for an aircraft. Okay, so that's the reason the bird hit happens usually, but nowadays it has been cancelled up because ASM are dealing majorly with that. Okay.
The fields must be kept clear of debris using cleaning equipment so that loose material does not become a projectile and enter an engine duct. In adverse weather conditions, ice and snow clearing equipment can be used to improve traction on the landing strip.
So this is de-icing. If you see this is de-icing, which is done by the meteorological department. They are clearing the snow. They are clearing the ice which is there on the runway. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For waiting aircraft, equipment is used to spray special de-icing fluids on the wings. Many airports are built near open fields or wetlands. These tend to attract bird populations, which can pose a hazard to aircraft in the form of bird strikes. Airport crew often need to discourage birds from taking up residence. Weather observations at the airport are crucial to safe takeoffs and landings.
So this is the meteorological department. This is how they study the weather, okay, and the weather conditions would be informed immediately. If there is an hazardous weather coming, then they immediately inform to the ATC.
Airports have weather stations, which provide weather observations in the METAR format, which is a format for reporting weather information. METAR Weather Report, used by pilots as part of pre-flight weather briefing, is made available through Automatic Terminal Information Service (ATIS) via the ATC or the Flight Service Center of the airport. Aircrafts take off and land into the wind in order to achieve maximum performance. Because pilots need instant information during landing, a windsock is kept in view of the runway. A windsock is a conical textile tube that resembles a giant sock. Windsocks are used at airports to indicate the direction and strength of the wind to pilots. Wind direction is the opposite.
So did you understand that? Windsock. If you see in every runway, you have something, this instrument, okay, it is called as windsock, which will denote to the pilot that which direction the wind is blowing. So the aircraft needs to be moving in the opposite direction of the wind. Okay, it shouldn't follow the wind direction. It should be taking off in an opposite direction of the wind and landing in the opposite direction of the wind. If it is taking on in the same direction, then there will be turbulence, there would be crash. Okay, so windsocks is kept for those reasons. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The direction in which the windsock is pointing and wind speed is indicated by the windsock's angle relative to the mounting pole. In low winds, the windsock droops. In high winds, it flies horizontally. A landing fee is a charge paid by an aircraft to an airport company for landing at a particular airport. Landing fees can vary greatly between airports, with congested airports, where most of the landing slots are held by airlines, being able to charge premium prices because of supply and demand, while less congested airports charge less, because the demand is not as high. The money generated by landing fees is used to pay for the maintenance or expansion of the airport's buildings, runways, aprons, and taxiways. Landing fees can also be used to attract more flights by keeping the fees low. Some airports, especially general aviation airports, do not charge landing fees. Landing fees may encompass additional airport-provided services. Some airports will charge a single fee for landing and provide gates and check-in facilities as part of that fee. Other airports will charge a lower fee for landing, but will charge airlines for the use of gates and check-in facilities. Fees can be based on any number of factors, including weight, the number of seats, type of operators, time of day, aircraft home airport, and operator class. That's all for now. We will meet with another topic in the next session. Thank you.
So guys, did you understand that? That gives a proper overview of your of your airport component. Okay, proper overview. I will paste that video so that you can watch that regularly and understand what the concept is all about. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat that safety management, that bird part, ma'am? I didn't understand that part.
Air safety management takes care of everything. Okay, now in general they focus on the aircraft itself. Okay, now if you see if the airport is filled, or let's say it has been built near a oceanic area, for example, okay, there would be a lot of birds, correct? So that is actually hazardous for the aircraft. Now if you say a single bird feather is actually a threat for an aircraft. Okay, a small hit, even if the bird let's say side of the bird hits the aircraft's wings also, there would be a possibility of crash. So there would be a possibility of loss of a human life also. So birds are very hazardous for aircrafts. Okay, so that is the thing. So what they do is they generally tend to watch any birds are coming near to the runway. Okay, because usually runway is the where aircraft lands and takes off. So they watch there. If they find that there is some birds being seated there, then what they do is immediately they use a gun type of thing. Okay, where they fire onto the air. Okay, and they scare the birds. Okay, to fly away. So that means they will not allow any of the birds to be staying near to the runway, because they are hazardous to the aircraft. Now clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Nice. Do you want to watch some more videos?